Elon Musk and Donald Trump are currently having a bit of a crash out on Twitter over the big, beautiful bill that Trump proposed and that's in the House. And now, based on Elon saying that he's going to primary anybody who voted for it, it looks like it's not going to pass the Senate. It looked like it wasn't going to pass the Senate anyway, but even more so, it's not going to pass the Senate. It's definitely not going to pass the Senate by July. Started off with Elon saying that there was a lot of government pork in it and that it raised the deficit by, I think it was $2.5 trillion. And then Trump saying some other stuff. And then Elon said that Trump is in the Epstein files, which is not great. But I think we already kind of knew that. But Elon said that's why Trump's not going to be releasing them. Then Trump said that Elon knew everything about the bill, and the only reason he's upset about it is because of the lack of an EV mandate. So that's interesting because an EV mandate would be useful for Elon. It would have been really useful for Elon about 8 years ago when Elon was really the only car manufacturer for electric vehicles that was big. But now that other car manufacturers are really getting into it, and I don't know if you've noticed, but Tesla is not actually in Formula E. But now that Teslas aren't the main EV maker and everybody else is making EVs, it's not necessarily going to be the big boon that it would have been to Elon if everybody had been required to buy a Tesla in 2020. If they bought a new car, or an EV in 2020, if they bought a new car, because Tesla would have been the one at the front of the game. Even 2022, I think, because EVs have gotten a lot more popular. Now, Elon did say that he would be okay with leaving the EV mandate and EV subsidies out of it if they took out the gas and oil subsidies and all the pork, which is just unnecessary government spending. But unfortunately, so one thing I've noticed is that sometimes people say, oh, well, the Pentagon spends $9,000 on toilet seats. If you really think the Pentagon spends $9,000 on toilet seats, on a toilet seat, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. They use that as a form of clandestine operations. So it looks like a mundane thing that costs a lot of money, but it's really probably some sort of super high-tech thing that you don't want people who you might be at war with to know about. And that's something that Doge was thinking about doing. Doge never got to the Pentagon. I do believe they at least got to the door of the CIA. And I'm wondering if the CIA gave Elon any information to make him go away. That's just a conspiracy theory, not a fact of any type. Just a thought that I'm having, because obviously I like having thoughts. And then Elon said that we need to reduce the deficit and a whole bunch of stuff. This was after a couple days ago, Elon said that the big beautiful bill undid all of Doge's work, which the truth of the matter is that Congress probably had the authority to undo all of Doge's work at the same time, because Congress authorizes the power of purse. The executive branch decides how to enforce laws, but Congress gives them the money to do so. So I feel like Congress could have just done that at any point. And with the bill, that's just how they're doing it, with the budget appropriations bill and everything. But the really, really big thing that happened was Trump put on Truth Social, and I think he may have put it on Twitter as well, but definitely on Truth Social, that the best way to get rid of the deficit was to end Elon's subsidies, which, not wrong, because Elon gets a lot of subsidies. And then he also said he was surprised Biden didn't do it, which is really shocking that he would say that. I'm not surprised Biden didn't do it, because unfortunately a lot of Elon's subsidies are actually important, because SpaceX is essentially the only company in America that can get people to the space station, because we stopped funding NASA. We'd have to refund NASA, figure out how to actually get NASA to work again and everything like that. We knew that Elon and Trump were probably going to be at odds over a few things. One of those things was probably going to be EVs, and then, of course, Elon's stance that H-1B visas were important and immigration was important, because obviously Elon is an immigrant and Trump is not, and Trump doesn't want immigration, Trump doesn't want H-1B visas. Trump actually is threatening to bring back the Chinese Exclusion Act, He threatened to revoke all Chinese visas over the course of the last couple weeks. I don't think he's done so yet, but I don't believe any new Chinese students will be getting visas, which is really unfortunate that that's going to happen because China's having a brain drain problem. And it's unfortunately for China, a lot of them come to the United States. And yeah, so now they're just going to stay in China. But the big thing that Elon said in response to this was he would disassemble his new rocket. So I have a feeling these two are going to be fighting for a while, and I don't think this is for show. I think this is real.